So you join me on a very cold winter's day. It's all very frosty, it's all very sun in your eyes. Bit of a strange day today. We are driving down to Birmingham and we are picking up an engine for the Twingo. So this is the 1.2 turbo. The turbo is apparently broken on this, which is why the guy is getting rid of it. But hopefully I'll have all the bits and pieces I need by the end of the day to make it a good one, and then we can drag it all the way back up from Birmingham and it can sit in the shed for a while whilst I sort the rest of the car out. Right, so here we are, it's time to get to work. First bit out, which is the ECU, and that's the plugs for it, so that's all going to come as well. Right, so what is exactly going on here? So this is a Renault Twingo GT. It has a 1.2 turbocharged engine which has 99 horsepower, a standard I think 105 on overboost in certain gears, and I picked up everything you see here for the price of 200 British pounds, which is an absolute steal. The downside to that was I had to go get everything out myself. Having never actually taken an engine out before, I was quite lucky in that this was quite near Rob, who you saw in a previous video, so he kindly took half a day off work and came and helped me get this engine out of the car. He'd never taken a Twingo engine out before, but he's doing an engine swap on his Twingo, so between the two of us we just about bumbled our way through it and got the engine and all the ancillary parts out. In retrospect, it's a pretty simple process. There's just a lot of undoing parts. So obviously the engine's connected to the wheels are already gone and the drive shafts were gone, so didn't have to bother taking them out. Rob's under the car here, disconnecting the exhaust and some other bits. And then I was just making my way around the engine bay, right to left, disconnecting everything. We needed to take not only the engine and gearbox, but all the wiring loom, all the ECUs, the intercooler, and all the associated pipework with it. So that, yeah, it was quite a lot of work to get all this out, but nothing too hard until we actually got the engine itself out the engine bay, which was quite heavy and very awkward, given the fact we didn't have an engine crane with us, which was probably a mistake on our parts, but even if we did have one, it was a gravel driveway, so it would have been an absolute pain to move anyway. Right, so that's the rad out, and Rob's under here doing something. A bit more space. Intercooler is gone. Rad's gone. That's not coming with us, that's not good. So yeah, the ECU is out, fuse box is out. I guess it's just this left. And whilst I did say it was a generally easy process, it's just a lot of faff. The coolant hoses at the back of the engine here, where they go into the cabin, were a real pain. And on my first attempt, I think with the mole grips, they span around and faced each other, which meant I couldn't actually get the mole grips onto either of them to undo them anymore. Rob's still working under the car. Basically at this point, pretty much everything is disconnected except for the upper engine mount. And yeah, we were then trying to decide what's the best way of getting this engine out. Do we drop it down and pull it out underneath, or do we lower the car down and pull it out over the top? So we rapidly decided that dropping it down was not going to happen, because neither of us wanted to be underneath it as we pulled the last bolt out with nothing to secure the engine. And these axle stands they don't look too tall here, but they were phenomenally high, so trying to lift it out of the engine bay was going to be an absolute effort. One annoying quirk here was, as this car was already part stripped by the time we got to it, a lot of the normal handy places to put tools down whilst you're taking engines out weren't actually there, so we're forever trying to find places to put our tools down that didn't involve putting them on the floor to pick up and back up again. But as you can see here, working on the front of the engine, I can't remember what we're doing at this point, probably the last few bolts. And then it's again trying to decide how we're going to get this engine out. It's around about here that we decided we'll take the easy way out, and we will chop the front out and just pull it out the front. Right, so this is pretty much everything out. The loom's all disconnected, starter all just the top engine mount. But first, as the front of the car was pretty jacked up, we decided to put it right down on the ground, which leads to some very funky camera angles going on here with everything getting shifted around. The jacks we had, we both forgot to bring a jack, so we were using the jack that was at the house, and this jack wasn't actually tall enough to put the car back up or to lift the car high enough off the axle stand, so we had to do all sorts of propping up to get it there. But once you got one side out, it was fine. As you can see, we gave it a very brief attempt at pulling it out. Quickly decided this is way too heavy to lift over the top of the crash structure at the front, and then resorted to angle grinder. Doing some very final, or maybe we can just unbolt this thing, it'll be fine, and then no, let's get the angle grinder out. So Rob did the passenger side, did it very quickly and cleanly, and then I did the driver's side and made a right mess of it because I actually cut slightly too far into the crash structure, so then I need to do it a second time, and then we just ripped it off. So now the engine is free-ish. Things are getting serious. Yeah, that's the loom disconnected. Don't forget to like the video, and if you've enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel. Once you've done that, make sure you hit the notification bell and set it to all so you don't miss any future episodes. If you want to support the channel even more, there is a Patreon, various levels, and they all have different reward tiers such as YouTube credits and even having your name or logo written on the car. Lastly, there is a merch store where you can pick up some cool CrewTube or Project Twingo merch. There's mugs, there's t-shirts, there's all sorts, all colours. Link in the description below for all these. For whatever reason, I failed to hit record on the GoPro, so you don't see us straining to lift this thing out, which is a real shame because we were pulling some absolutely horrendous faces and making some horrendous noises. But as you can see there, we lifted it out and put it on the jack and then lugged it over to the Skoda. And then again, didn't hit record till I was in the car again, probably because of just the strain and the effort, but we managed to pick it in and then put a couple of straps on to tie it down to stop it falling over in the back of the car. And yeah, start putting everything else back in the car and ready to go back home. Right, the edge of the road, as you can see, it's later there. I am covered in crap. Oh well. Yeah, we have focus. We have done a lot today. Let's have a look. Here we see the rare twin engine Skoda. So that is engine, gearbox, intercooler, all the pipes, everything, the loom. Loom all came out as one, which was great. All sorts of stuff. New turbo, new pipes. Don't know what this is. Radiator from a Renault 5 Turbo GT. All the tools and a front mount intercooler to replace it. So yeah, the Skoda. Don't know if you can see it. It's quite low. Time to go home. halfway up the M6 now. Just realised I left all the bolts behind, just on the side in a pile. So that's a pain. Might get them to send them up to me, but to be honest, I'm going to be taking the engine out of mine, so hopefully a lot of bolts are the same, and they could honestly probably do with just being new bolts as well. So yeah, aside from getting back home, the last piece of the struggle puzzle is getting this thing out the car again. Hopefully the wife has got her muscles on. We can get the gearbox and engine are split, so between the two of us, hopefully we can get it around the back of the house. I am absolutely getting an engine hoist for putting it back in and putting the other one out. It's Christ alive, that was heavy. But yeah, thanks to Rob for spending a day with me. He did a lot of the work. He knew what he was doing. I did not know what I was doing. But it was a great learning experience, and I'll be doing it solo, taking my engine out next time and then putting it back in piece by piece. As you can see, it's a new day. It's all still in there because I got back last night about 7 o'clock and really didn't feel like hulking that all the way down the back of the house. Need to go sort the shed out to find space for it first. So my shed is a 8-foot by 6-foot shed, which felt pretty big until I decided I was going to put an engine in there, and then it was rapidly not big enough at all. So we no longer have a garage at our house because just before lockdown we decided to convert it into a workshop / office for my wife's business and for me to have my computers in. So the shed is the only sort of dry space for dirty things on our property. So it's really just trying to maximise the space here. I decided to rearrange all the cabinets that I have in there, and as you can see there's the start of an engine-sized hole. Whilst I was there, quickly put in an extra bit of workspace just to bridge the gap because I knew I was going to drop things down there. Start arranging all the tools, and then we're going to have to get it all back in from the car and get all these spaces filled back up again. Right, so that's the shed sorted and need to brush the floor. That's now moved from there, making another cubby hole here. Don't really use the bikes, so they're out the way for now. Workspace. I'll probably extend this front bit as well to cover that up. But that's an engine shaped hole, which means I can put the engine here and still get to things that do actually get used. So it's just time to put all the tools back that I had for taking the engine out. Right, it's time to get all this out. So there's the engine, gearbox is under there, got the catalytic converter, and then we've got all the electrics and all sorts of other stuff, so this will be fun. Right, so engine and gearbox. We're going to put in the wheelbarrow to help us. What do you rate our chances? That about sums it up. Let's go. So,
snap.
So from memory, this should rock.
Okay.
And then if you just hold it there, just to stop it, put your hand on there, just to,
Yeah.
then I can get this out. We'll take that.
Okay, so am I lifting this down now?
And Robbie, the answer is yellow and purple wires. Yeah, if we let this rock, it should sit back on something. Take the arm out of the way in case it falls over.
I'm going to keep rocking it.
There we go. That's going to make it really hard to get out now.
Yay.
A few moments later.
Right, that's half the battle. Right, there's a good handhold on the turbo here.
Okay, so what do you want me to do?
Don't hold it by that.
Don't hold it by the weak bits, okay. Good advice.
There's something to hold on to there. I'm going to get in the back and we're just going to shuffle it towards the back. And hopefully we can get it onto the back.
Okay.
Right. Your job is to stop me falling out the car. Pro tip, get an engine hoist. Oh, I can stand up.
I think we should just lift it closer now.
Yeah, I want to lift it onto the boot lid, but
Okay.
have you got somewhere to lift from?
Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh god. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
We're stuck on something, isn't it?
Yeah. I need more height. Oh, I know. Have you got it?
Yep.
Don't do that.
How did your husband die? He was.
There we go. See, I can lift it if I'm standing higher up. You
I
ready?
need to roll it back first on my chest.
You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
You got it?
Pull it this way a bit more. Yeah, now I have.
Don't move. The Skoda suspension at the back is really not happy. We'll put this on lengthways and then we can stand each side.
Okay.
Might have to drive the car forward a bit.
Ready?
What are you going to do?
Oh, we're going to lift, aren't we?
Yeah, but you're not going to step out with holding the weight of it. You're going to.
No, I was going to kind of move it more that way.
Okay.
Okay. Can't we roll it into the thing? Oh, will that not work? If we tip, if you kind of like retwist it so it's like the lengthways on that way. Yeah. Oh, that was nearly my knee. The wet snap. Right. That's it, yeah.
I have not got this. Okay.
I've got most of it. There we go. Put it down. Lower
I'm
it.
trying to put it down.
Ah, I'm stuck.
And that's how you get an engine out of the back of the Skoda.
Oh my god, the wheel.
Operation Engine Wheelbarrow is semi-success. We are now this far away, but there has been a casualty.
My wheelbarrow.
Oh dear. That'll a bit of duct tape. That'll be fine. Why the gearbox is so heavy. Probably would have been easy just to carry. Oh, this wheelbarrow does not feel good.
Oh, there goes the rest of it.
Well, that can't stay there. Good enough for now. And there we go, in its hidey hole, and all the drawers can still open. So this can just sit here and be forgotten about for a few months. Poor wheel rack.